Public-private partnerships. How can PPPs deliver better services? PPPs and reforms in Portugal.
Hello everyone, my name is Fernando Crespo. I am an economist and I am the head of the Portuguese PPP unit since it was established in 2012. The Portuguese PPP unit is located within the Ministry of Finance. We have staff of legal and financial experts, and we participate in all stages of project life cycle, so appraisal, restructuring, tendering, renegotiation where required, and we also oversee contract management performed by line ministers. Portugal has a very mature PPP portfolio. We're talking about 32 active central government contracts. The first one was signed in the mid-90s, 95 I think, and it's a PPP program that has been developed or was developed without a central PPP unit, more precisely within the Ministry of Finance. The creation of UTAP was one of the measures of the 2012 PPP sector reform. So, next point, why the 2012 PPP sector reform? 2011 was a turning point for Portugal in economic and financial terms. We are talking about economic and financial crisis that was in full, and the government signed what was called the Memorandum of Understanding on a specific economic policy conditionality with the European Commission, the European Central Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. They were called the Troika, these three institutions, in short. The PPP sector was under close scrutiny by the program and the Portuguese authorities. Why? Well, PPPs are a very powerful public procurement figure, and Portugal has a large portfolio of projects under operation, and they were key for bridging the infrastructure gap of the country between the mid-90s and the mid-2000s. For instance, a network of more than 3,000 kilometers of motorways was built in roughly 15 years in Portugal. So we are talking about a country, about Portugal, that has been very successful in delivering quality projects on time and on balance, with a much better performance than traditional procurement figures. If you want, the dark side of this fast development has been the mounting financial commitments related to those projects. And the portfolio was seen as unsustainable in fiscal terms, particularly the motorways, and not so much when we talk about, for instance, hospitals, but also other sectors like the planned high railway network were deemed as unsustainable. This high-speed railway network was a big undertaking of the country that was cancelled in 2011, 2012. A thorough assessment of the PPP sector was performed that year, 2011, as a joint effort by the Ministry of Finance and the IMF in search of the reasons for the poor fiscal performance of the portfolio, particularly the motorways. The study focused in particular on several structures of the public sector itself, and the main conclusions were dark for the public sector, if you want. First, that the public sector was unprepared for the fast development pace of PPPs in the country and was lacking coordinated and centralized action. The role of the Ministry of Finance as gatekeeper at the end of the tendering of projects was ineffective, and long-run control of fiscal commitments was underperformed or even neglected, if you want. Involving underdimensioned and unprepared public teams and with excessive resource to external advisors, we had a huge amount of outsourcing, if you want, that provoked a lack of institutional memory and a lack of capacity of the public sector to assess lessons learned, implement solutions, and we had problems as well with planning and project selection. We had bad projects launched, bad projects cannot make PPP, this is for sure. And sometimes some relatively good projects that resulted in poor risk allocation. We had frequent changes in project structure and conditions during construction, execution, and multiple renegotiations of our PPPs projects were launched, particularly the motorway ones. These are the most important as well in fiscal terms. We had multiple unilateral acts by the public partners that resulted as well in renegotiations, for instance, administrative changes, legislative changes that were not supposed to happen according to the contracts that were in force at that moment. So basically the result was that in 2012, thorough legal and institutional reforms was launched, new legislation, new Ministry of Finance PPP unit, our unit, UTAP, was launched as a stable sort of repository of the public know-how with PPPs. And we launched as well a series of measures to tighten the control over the fiscal outcome of PPPs.
This has been an Open Learning Campus presentation brought to you by the World Bank Group, accelerating solutions through learning.